for now, let me go into the conference call that I was privileged to be on with Tony Robbins, and let me just share with you a little bit about the sort of the premise of it. Okay, the premise of it is Tony feels very, very strongly after doing quite a bit of research. Tony is. Like I said, he coaches billionaires, he coaches, government officials, presidents of the United States, he coaches world leaders, the Prime Minister of UK. Like, he's got access to people who really kind of have the behind the scenes. And not to get political, not to get conspiracy theory or any of that, just kind of looking at the facts. Tony's concern is it's very likely that the fear, the uncertainty, the stress that concerns about this health crisis, coupled with the concerns that the very real concerns that people are having about the economy tanking, will likely produce more medical problems, more suicides, more deaths ultimately than are actually directly related to this COVID thing. Okay. And so he's really done some in-depth research that I'm going to go ahead and share with you now. First of all, it's important to understand that world leaders literally based their decision-making about keeping people home based on two algorithms. One was called the COVID Act Now, and the other one was from Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation. Okay, brilliant scientists, brilliant physicians came up with this algorithm to sort of predict, based on the information that they had at the time, to predict like what the growth curve was going to be and the mortality rates. Okay, so that was pretty early on, and it was based on information that they were receiving from China, from Korea, and then ultimately from Italy. Okay, Italy and Spain. Now, these algorithms showed a rapid progression and then a rapid corresponding death rate that, according to the algorithms, would just completely overwhelm the healthcare system, which then would have a chain reaction in people who needed typical everyday trips to the emergency room. Like, it would the emergency rooms being overrun as a result of this health crisis would result in even more deaths because of the unavailability or access to medical care, urgent medical care. Okay. In the UK, Neil Ferguson, a scientist, they predicted 500,000 deaths, right, at the start of this thing based on those two algorithms. It predicted in the UK 500,000 deaths, okay? And then just recently dropped the estimates to 20,000 or fewer. Dr. Amy Acton in Ohio, there's just example after example after example after example of the outlook was we're going to have just tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of deaths, and that's not really proving to be the case. And so a lot of governors, a lot of mayors, a lot of city officials are already starting to really back down those initial projections because these algorithms were based on early data. Okay, so again, not trying to get political, not trying to get conspiracy, go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theory, but just looking at some of the facts. Okay, this is a Nobel laureate, Dr. Michael Levitt. Almost everyone who dies, no matter what the cause, will have coronavirus, but that's not the reason it killed you. Okay, so they're really, amongst doctors and amongst scientists, they're really starting to discover that this COVID-19 is likely to have been around a while. Many of us have likely already had the sort of lower grade or lower version. I don't know how to say it medically, but the less impactful, if you will, version of the virus. Okay, and then you developed a natural immunity to it. Okay, so the mortality rates that they were predicting are actually turning out to be much, much, much less than initially thought. Is the bottom line. Okay. And so it's getting, first of all, you got to understand something. It's getting a lot of media attention because there was a lot of fear and uncertainty early on, okay? Then they made these algorithms, they made these projections, and that has had a sweeping, like, raging forest fire effect amongst the media. The media's job is to get eyeballs into their platforms, whether it's, you know, watching the news, which millions and millions and millions more people are doing every day, right? That's their job, is to get eyeballs into their platforms, whether it's newspaper, whether it's an online platform, etc. Okay. And so, you know, this is such a salacious story, like this disease, this virus is projected to kill millions of people. Okay. And so the flames are still being fanned by the media. Okay. And the reality is, now understand, this is as of April 7th, okay? Early on, it maybe was not necessarily appropriate to look at, oh, only so many people have died, okay? But if you really look at the numbers, you are far more likely to die from a car crash. Like 3,500 people in the United States a day die from car crashes, right? These are just some statistics. Just in the United States, more people die from heart disease, like vastly more people die from heart disease, cancer, drug overdose, vehicle accidents, pneumonia, the flu season. As of by the end of the flu season, will have killed 60,000 people. Okay, so why would so many countries just literally cave their economies, just tank their economies? Well, it was because their decision making was based on early projections. Okay, now I'm sharing this with you. You know, that one thing I want to share with you guys is, for example, in Sweden. In Sweden, they've opted to go, okay, we don't want to tank our economy. Every country throughout the world, you know, I think it's now 185 countries, have shut down their economies, like stay-at-home orders. And what Sweden has opted to do is like, look, we're going to practice social distancing. We're going to encourage washing the hands, wearing the masks. We're going to ban any meetings beyond 50, but we're not going to tank our economy until we get a little more reliable data. So what is the data? As of now, they have a quarter. So Sweden has approximately the population of the state of New Jersey. Okay. Now in Sweden, they reported less than a quarter of the deaths that they feel like those deaths, while they had underlying health issues, that those deaths, they also, the decedent actually had COVID-19. Okay, so less than a quarter of New Jersey, same population, New Jersey in total lockdown. Sweden is business as usual. Okay, and so what Tony and some of the panelists, who are doctors and physicians and scientists, what some of the panelists talked about is that politically now, politicians are really looking for, oh crap, how do we back out of this thing? And what we're likely to see, right? And so the prediction is what we're likely to see is politicians really patting themselves on the back for these extraordinary measures that they took to really tamp down and flatten that curve and all of that. It's their graceful exit out of this thing, okay? And, you know, so what Tony was really encouraging those of us who are on the call for is, look, don't panic. Don't allow yourself to be crippled by fear, crippled by uncertainty. It's very likely that very quickly we're going to come out of this thing. And, you know, the call was about how to prepare your personal life and your business life to take best opportunity of it. And he cited one of his clients as an example. Bill Ackman bet on the market plummet, turned $27 million into $2.6 billion. So look, some of the things that we talk about in our training is how to condition yourself, how to condition your mind, how to condition your heart, how to condition your body to take to have the best mindset and the best outlook whereby you've trained yourself to look for the gratitude and look for the gift in things, look for where there are opportunities, right? And there are people, there are companies that are, like, no kidding, taking best advantage of the opportunity that's there. And so, look, I wanted to share it with you guys for a couple of reasons. One, there may be many of us who are really freaked out by this whole health crisis, this whole health scare, okay? And that's a very natural response. It's a natural human physiological response to fear and uncertainty, and that's being broadcast to us on loudspeaker, right? The news media, social media, all of it, okay? And so Tony's intention in sharing that is like, look, if ever there's the time to be doubling down on being responsible for your own mindset, for your own psychology, your physiology, now's the time. Now's the time to really double down on that so that you're in the best frame of reference, you're the best frame of mind, you're in the best frame of mind to make the best decisions for you, your family, and your business. So I hope that was useful for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share.